Have you ever done everything right, the salads, the workouts, the early nights, and still looked down to find your belly sitting there, completely unbothered? You're not broken. You're not weak. And you're definitely not doing it wrong. The truth is, belly fat isn't just stored energy waiting to be burned, it's an ancient survival system that your body guards more fiercely than anything else. And once you understand why it behaves this way, everything changes: your strategy, your patience, and most importantly, your results. So today we're answering the question that keeps millions of people stuck: how long does it actually take before your body starts burning belly fat, and what's really happening inside you while you wait? Stay until the end, because that's when we reveal the exact signs that confirm your body has finally flipped into fat burning mode. Your belly fat isn't lazy, it's a bodyguard. Most people look at their belly and see a problem, but your body looks at it and sees a solution. Belly fat, specifically visceral fat, sits deep inside your abdomen, wrapping around your liver, intestines, and pancreas like a protective cushion. Unlike the soft fat you can pinch under your skin, visceral fat behaves more like an organ. It produces hormones, regulates inflammation, and actively communicates with your immune system. Your body places it there on purpose, surrounding your most vital organs with an energy-rich shield designed to keep you alive when food runs out. This is why belly fat is loaded with receptors for two of your most powerful survival hormones, insulin and cortisol, making it extremely responsive to stress, irregular eating, and poor sleep. When cortisol rises because you're overworked, underrested, or anxious, your body interprets that as a signal of danger and immediately begins depositing more fat around your midsection. When insulin stays elevated because you're snacking constantly or eating too many refined carbs, your body locks fat storage into overdrive and refuses to release anything from its reserves. Think of belly fat as your body's emergency warehouse, fully stocked, carefully guarded, and only opened when headquarters is absolutely certain the crisis is real and lasting. In today's world, where food is everywhere but stress never stops, your body never receives that green light, so the warehouse stays sealed, and your waistline stays wide. The only way to truly convince belly fat to leave is to gradually lower insulin, reduce cortisol through lifestyle changes, and sustain a fat-burning state consistently over several weeks. The first few days of dieting are not fat-burning. Here's the hard truth that most diet plans won't tell you: when you first cut calories, your body doesn't immediately start burning fat. Instead, it pauses, raises an internal eyebrow, and essentially asks, is this person serious this time, or is this another 3-day health kick? In the first 1 to 3 days of a calorie deficit, your body reaches for its most accessible fuel source first, glycogen, which is stored glucose sitting in your liver and muscles. Here's the sneaky part: for every gram of glycogen your body burns, it also releases 3 to 4 grams of water that were bound to it. So within the first few days, the scale drops dramatically, sometimes 2 or 3 kilograms, and you feel like you've cracked the code. You haven't lost fat. You've lost sugar water, and the moment you eat carbs again, most of that weight returns overnight. That doesn't make your effort meaningless. It's like clearing out the garage before the real renovation begins, and it is a necessary first step. But if you stop here, frustrated that your belly looks identical and the scale has suddenly stalled, you've quit at the worst possible moment. Research from Harvard and the Mayo Clinic confirms it takes approximately 3 to 5 days of consistent dieting to lower insulin levels, deplete glycogen stores, and signal the body to begin actual fat metabolism. Most people give up on day 4 right at the doorstep of the metabolic shift they've been working toward and never know how close they actually were. The scale stalls because the water drop is complete, energy dips slightly because the brain hasn't fully adapted to burning fat, and the mind assumes the plan has failed. But push through just 1 or 2 more days, and everything changes. Hunger decreases, energy stabilizes, mental clarity returns, and your body officially enters fat-burning mode. Hormones decide everything, not willpower. If you've ever eaten perfectly for weeks and still couldn't shift your belly, stop blaming your discipline, because the real battle is happening in your hormones, not your habits. Insulin is the gatekeeper of your fat stores. When it's elevated, your body is in storage mode, and no amount of exercise or restriction will unlock the fat vault. The only way to lower insulin consistently is through a genuine calorie deficit, reducing refined carbs and sugar, or incorporating structured fasting. There are no shortcuts around this biological lock. Then there's cortisol, the stress hormone with a very specific hobby, depositing fat directly around your midsection to protect your vital organs during perceived danger. Chronic stress, poor sleep, overwork, and even excessive exercise without recovery all keep cortisol elevated, which means sometimes reducing your stress is more powerful than reducing your calories. Leptin is your brain's fullness signal. When it's working correctly, it tells you to stop eating when you're satisfied, but in people with leptin resistance, that signal gets blocked entirely. Ghrelin is the opposite, the hunger hormone that spikes with poor sleep, skipped meals, and high stress, which is exactly why you crave everything in sight after a bad night or a hard day. BDNF, a powerful brain protein that rises during fat burning, helps regulate appetite, sharpen focus, and stabilize mood, and it increases naturally with movement, fasting, and quality sleep. When all 5 of these hormones are balanced and working in harmony, belly fat doesn't need to be forced out, it begins leaving on its own, steadily and sustainably. The mistake most people make is trying to control calories while ignoring the hormonal environment entirely. It's like trying to empty a bathtub while the tap is still running. Metabolic flexibility, the state where fat burns naturally. After several days of consistent calorie reduction or intermittent fasting, your body undergoes a quiet but profound internal shift known as metabolic flexibility. In your normal state, your body runs almost entirely on glucose, fast-burning, short-lasting fuel that needs constant refilling, like trying to power a city with disposable batteries. But once glucose and glycogen stores are sufficiently depleted and insulin drops low enough, your body flips a biological switch and begins converting stored fat into ketones for fuel. Ketones are a premium, long-lasting energy source that can cross the blood-brain barrier, meaning your brain runs cleaner, sharper, and more efficiently than it ever does on sugar. The result is something people describe almost universally the same way: a quiet mental clarity, reduced hunger, steady energy throughout the day, and freedom from the constant need to snack. This isn't a placebo effect or wishful thinking, it's a measurable biological state where your body has shifted from survival mode into genuine optimization mode. Research published in Cell Metabolism confirms that metabolic flexibility improves insulin sensitivity, lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes, and even slows the process of cellular aging. The catch is that metabolic flexibility doesn't arrive after one salad or 2 days of effort. It requires consistent clean eating, reduced insulin, and a body that's free from chronic hormonal disruption. Once you achieve this state, burning belly fat stops being a desperate all-or-nothing battle and becomes a natural, quiet, background process your body manages on its own. Why your belly is always the last to change. You notice it in your face first, then your arms, your legs, maybe even your ankles, and yet your belly sits completely unchanged, unmoved, almost smug. This isn't random and it isn't unfair, it's your body following a deliberate, biologically programmed sequence that prioritizes organ protection above everything else. Studies show that in the first 6 weeks of consistent dieting, your body primarily targets visceral fat, the dangerous internal fat wrapped around your organs, before touching the outer layer. The subcutaneous belly fat, the layer you can pinch and see, is your body's final reserve, the last line of the emergency supply chain, and it doesn't get touched until your body is confident the system is stable. This means that for the first several weeks, your body is changing profoundly on the inside, reducing dangerous internal fat, improving organ function, lowering inflammation even when the mirror shows nothing. Cortisol makes this process even slower. Every night of poor sleep, every stress spiral, every skipped rest day tells your body to hold the belly reserves tighter than ever. Understanding this isn't just informational, it's the mindset shift that separates people who give up in week 2 from those who finally see results in week 5 or 6. Exercise and sleep are not optional. The old advice of eat less, move more has been quietly dismantled by modern science, because how you move and how you sleep matters just as much as what you eat. High-intensity interval training and resistance training don't just burn calories during the session, they trigger the afterburn effect, where your body continues consuming energy for hours after you've finished. Every kilogram of muscle you build increases your resting metabolic rate, meaning your body burns more fat passively, even while you sleep, simply because muscle tissue demands more fuel to maintain itself. But the most underestimated weapon in belly fat loss isn't a workout, it's sleep, and most people are quietly sabotaging themselves every single night. During deep sleep, your body releases human growth hormone, which repairs muscle tissue, regenerates cells, reduces ghrelin, and elevates leptin, essentially resetting your entire hormonal environment overnight. Studies have shown that people sleeping 7 to 9 hours per night lose fat twice as effectively as sleep-deprived individuals, even when their diet and exercise habits are completely identical. Poor sleep raises cortisol, disrupts insulin sensitivity, spikes hunger hormones, and puts your body back into fat storage mode, undoing days of clean eating in just one sleepless night. If your diet is clean and your training is consistent but your belly still won't budge, the missing variable is almost always the quality and quantity of your sleep. The real timeline, when belly fat actually starts burning. With consistent eating in a calorie deficit, 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, and smart training 3 to 5 times per week, most people begin seeing visible belly fat reduction between weeks 3 and 6. Before that window, your body is burning internal visceral fat, balancing hormones, depleting glycogen reserves, and building the metabolic foundation that makes outer fat loss possible. If you have insulin resistance from years of high sugar intake, or if you're managing chronic stress, anxiety, or a high-pressure lifestyle, your timeline may extend to 8 to 12 weeks, and that is completely normal. That extended timeline isn't failure, it's your body healing deep metabolic damage before it's safe to release its emergency reserves, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The moment belly fat burning truly activates, you'll know it, your waistline shrinks, clothes fit differently, sugar cravings fade, mental clarity sharpens, and your energy holds steady all day without crashes. Transformation in this process doesn't arrive gradually and then suddenly stop, it arrives slowly, builds quietly, and then all at once, the mirror shows someone you barely recognize. The two mistakes that send belly fat straight back. The most dangerous mistake in fat loss is believing that more restriction equals faster results, because your body doesn't reward aggression, it punishes it. When you fast too aggressively without adequate protein or movement, your body doesn't burn fat first, it breaks down muscle tissue because muscle is metabolically expensive and fat is metabolically precious. The result is a slower metabolism, reduced muscle mass, and belly fat that's now even harder to shift than it was before you started, the exact opposite of everything you were working toward. The second mistake is refeeding too quickly after a period of restriction. Celebrating progress with a large meal triggers something called fat overshooting, where your body absorbs and stores fat faster than normal. Your body, still convinced it's recovering from a famine, prioritizes storing every available calorie as fat, especially if that first meal back is loaded with sugar or refined carbohydrates. The fix is patient, strategic refeeding, starting with vegetables, bone broth, and healthy fats like avocado and olive oil before gradually reintroducing proteins and complex carbs. Weight loss isn't a crash course, it's a re-education program for your metabolism, teaching it slowly and consistently that restriction is a lifestyle, not an emergency. The body that finally trusts you. Belly fat isn't your enemy, it's a biological insurance policy written into your DNA by millions of years of survival pressure that your body still believes you might need. But once you consistently lower insulin, manage cortisol, sleep deeply, train intelligently, and give your body time to believe the crisis is over, it begins to let go. Not because you forced it. Not because you punished it with extreme restriction or hours of cardio. But because you finally showed it something more powerful than any diet: consistency and trust. If you're in week 1 and nothing has changed, keep going, your body is still deciding whether you're serious. If you're in week 3 and feeling stuck, hold the line, that is the exact moment the metabolic switch is preparing to flip. And if you're already feeling lighter, clearer, and more in control, you're not just losing belly fat anymore. You're becoming someone who no longer needs to fight their own body to feel well, and that transformation goes far deeper than anything a scale could ever measure.